right, guys, we are joined by a very, very special guest today. A lot of you guys who like listening to podcasts and like Borussia Dortmund probably know who he is, but if you don't, I will turn the floor over to him right now and he can introduce himself a little bit. Stefan, how are you doing today?
Hey, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's weird to be on camera now. You can stare right into your souls, people. Now I see what you're doing. It's not just you're in a podcast now. I'm going video. Yeah. Hi, Josh. I'm Stefan Buczko. I'm the host of the Yellowwallpod. Among others, I hope there will be more co-hosts in the future. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. So Kiel, huh?
Kiel? Yeah, we established before the game that we don't know a lot about Kiel. All we pretty much know is that they took out Bayern. That is the only game I've really watched them play this season, and it was one that I was celebrating probably almost as much as I would watching Dortmund play, because when they scored that winning penalty, I was up on my feet. And yeah, so I mean, they're a pretty decent club from what I saw, but I don't know. Steph, you want to add to that a little bit?
Well, I mean, they're a very good Zweite Bundesliga team, which doesn't mean they're necessarily a good team, but the problem is they can beat Bayern. And I mean, it wasn't a full strength Bayern. Let's be fair. They were minus Lewandowski. I don't know if he came on later, but be that as it may, it was a bit of a fluky goal for the equalizer. And Kiel also, I think, had the goalkeeping error in this match. So what makes them so difficult to play against is like any good Zweite Bundesliga team, they are well organized and they know how to play underdog football quite well. It's a bit of a different football style than you see in the Bundesliga, and Dortmund thus far really have struggled in the cup against this sort of team. I mean, I think they needed what was it, a stoppage time goal against Braunschweig to really put that game away. Against Paderborn, they were 2-0 up or so, and then an equalizer in stoppage time. Yeah, I remember there was VAR drama where Dortmund thought Haaland had scored a goal, and then I think it was a Paslak who fouled in the box, and that thing went to overtime. So yeah, that's the thing we can expect. But I mean, the other thing really is that Kiel do have a couple really experienced players up front with Finn Bartels. I think he's a very good player, and I'm not sure why he's playing in the Zweite Bundesliga. I thought he could still do a job for any other team, say Augsburg or Mainz. I could see him there. He's a very clever player. Maybe you can liken him a little bit to Max Kruse at Union Berlin. I think it's a fair comparison in the way that they are both. I think Bartels is like 34 years old, but he's very cheeky. He scored against Bayern. I think that was a lob over the back line. So he has good timing. Other than that, obviously, we have to mention Yanni Serra, because he used to be a youth product for Dortmund. And I remember a lot of hope and expectation riding on him. But then he picked up injury after injury and it just didn't work out. But he's doing well for Kiel, and he might get promoted to the Bundesliga if they actually make it. I don't know. They've got a couple of really tough fixtures coming up, including obviously against Dortmund, because they, I think, had to go in quarantine. Is that right? They were like 4 weeks out, and now they have Englische Woche after Englische Woche. So that's obviously a big advantage for Dortmund.
Yeah, they're sitting in fourth right now, but they have a few games in hand, and if they take those points, they'll be in a promotion position. They're obviously doing relatively well, and yeah, I mean, from just again the one game that I really watched them, like you said, very well organized, and we've struggled a little bit in this competition when it comes to taking on clubs like that. So I think we're gonna have to get on the front foot right away. And I mean, if you watched us in the Paderborn game, we actually did do that, and we just kind of let our mentality slip. So it'll be an interesting little lineup here, but I guess we can dive on into to the starting 11, because when I watch us take on teams that in my opinion, that are a little lower in the table, I like to think that Terzic goes with the 4-2-3-1 rather than the 4-3-2-1. I don't see any difference here, especially with Dahoud not being available. Is that what you're thinking as well?
Yeah, I don't really expect much. Yeah, we should mention that Dahoud is out because of the suspension. He picked up this very late. Was it a straight red or no? I think it was just a double yellow, right?
I think it was double yellows.
And that 1-0 win, which obviously was a very big game for Dortmund, but otherwise I think Dortmund had also a lot of luck in the cup. So yeah, obviously we'll have hits and goal. That's right now probably not a discussion. Then Piszczek at right back. What a story! And I think today is the first time it really hit me where he's going to quit his career now, and this entire saga of Piszczek at Dortmund will end. And in your fan soul, that kind of hits you because he's obviously one of the most loved players in that team, and probably also one of the most important players. And him getting back now where Dortmund really needed him, and from the outset, showing some clutch performances, really shows what a big mess Zorc and the club has met at the right back position. That right now he's sort of our saving grace.
It's an incredible story, though, like you said. Absolutely incredible. The way that he came out of left field, pretty much. And I honestly didn't think that he'd be playing. Right field. But I didn't think he'd be playing. I really didn't. I didn't think he'd get many starts towards the end of his career, which was a shame. And I'm very excited to see him come up, and hopefully we'll probably have a run of games until he retires.
Well, I think Tersic's approach has been a bit of trial by error. I think you've seen it on multiple positions that he's tried players, and once he saw that didn't work, he just tried something else. I think this is why Julian Brandt got dropped. Same with Torgen Hazard at some point, just because when you're out of form, he's not going to play you. He's also right now not really in the mood to quote unquote develop players. He's just trying to get results. And I mean, that's the truth. You know, Gio Reyna had to take a backseat too for quite a while. But yeah, so Piszczek right back, then I think we don't really have to debate Hummels and Akanji at center back and Guerrero at left back. And then obviously who will replace Dahoud? I think we'll see Delaney and Bellingham as a double pivot. But my question to you is, would you plug Julian Brandt in there, since this is a game where you will have to you will have to have a lot of possession and do something with the ball, and you have the advantage of the home field, which means not fence, but at least a very smooth surface. If this game was at Kiel, it would be quite different, and I don't know if I would trust Brandt there, because he has some technical difficulties sometimes when the turf is not 100% smooth. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, you said it best. I wouldn't start him, and I don't think Terzic will, mainly because, like you said, he's not on form. I think when it comes to the 4-2-3-1 in the front three, you can't play Brandt out on the wings. We've seen it too many times. It doesn't work. And if you're going to start someone there, I think you're going to start Gio over Brandt, and then I don't think they're going to drop Royce. So I just don't see a spot for him. The only way I saw a spot for him if they shove potentially Royce out to one of the wings and put Brandt through the middle, but I don't know. I just don't see them doing that, and I think they'll go with a natural kind of winger out on the right with Gio probably on the left.
All right, so Emre Can next, Bellingham or Delaney then?
I go agree with you. I go Bellingham, and I go with Delaney. Chan's had a lot of minutes, so I mean this is kind of a game for me. I think that you could probably rest him a little bit. He hasn't also had the best performances. That makes me think otherwise. I think Jude's a must, and I think that Jude and Bellingham and Delaney, those two complement each other really well, especially in a 4-2-3-1. So that's who I'm going with. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think the team kind of picks itself right now. Delaney coming off the injury against Wolfsburg, and those what was it, half hour, or was it even longer? I don't remember how long it was, but he played really well, and I think he brings something to the table against a side like Kiel, which is also important, is win the ball back very quickly. If you put in Julian Brandt there, this you might neglect that a little bit. And the most important part, as you said, is put your foot down, play with a lot of intensity right from the start. And Delaney is usually the guy to do that. Especially, it will get a little gritty because it's a semi-final, and a lot is on the line also for Kiel. They obviously want to go to Berlin, even if nobody will attend that game. I don't know what the plans are on that, whether there will actually be spectators there, because there were, I think, some plans mauled, whether like 15 or 20,000 people would be invited to the cup final, but I digress. So yeah, obviously Marco Reus, number 10, he has been in excellent form, and there's no reason to not play him, especially since Dortmund have a whole week between games now. This is a real luxury, unlike Holstein Kiel, who had to play, I think, yesterday, or was it the day before that? I don't know, but
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, they had a draw against. Yeah, they had a draw against FC Nürnberg, and after Saturday they will have to play. I think Tuesday again, something like that. And then
think you're right.
Friday or even Monday, they have a really crazy schedule right now due to having to make up all these games. So I kind of wonder what they will do with that, because I think as nice as the cup run is,
Yeah.
the promotion to the Bundesliga is a much greater achievement for them. And so I don't even know if they're taking this game 100%. If I were Kiel, I would throw this game a little bit, because chances are against Dortmund you're going out anyway and better focus on that. But in sport, and especially in professional sport, nobody is bringing that mindset at all.
No, and that's something I was going to ask you actually. Was, I mean, like you made a good point. They're focused on the cup as well as promotion. We're focusing on the cup as well as Champions League. We're both kind of got our minds hit a little more. And I was going to ask you, who do you think's a little bit more distracted? Do you think the promotion versus the Champions League?
Well, Kiel is going to be more distracted, 100%, because they have a more cramped schedule right now, and Dortmund had this situation before where they needed to make up ground. Wasn't it the last season where they just nicked it off Leverkusen at the final match day? Yep. So this might happen again, but obviously the problem for Dortmund is they need to keep everyone fit and healthy, because the next 3 games in the Bundesliga will be absolutely grueling, and there will be a cup final most likely against Leipzig in between before the final match day, which is a bit weird, but it is there. So yeah, it's going to be really crazy for Dortmund to maintain this form, because the one thing we've seen with this team this season is every time you gain some hope and some confidence that they can actually do it, they turn around, disappoint you, and come up with the worst imaginable performance. So yeah, I'm a bit scared going into the cup final that the tensions drop a little, cup semi-final, that the tensions drop a little bit, just because they think they're just gonna walk over Kiel, which they still might, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, obviously always in there. Then you have Reina and Sancho, I think are the best picks for the wings, and then yeah, Haaland up top, and that should be your starting 11.
Do you think there's any type of shout to start Hazard over Gio on the right hand side, or do you feel more comfortable starting Gio there?
I think Hazard is better off the bench right now, and I think Gio actually has hit some form, which was not quite imaginable. Obviously, football moves very fast, and we're all reactionary, so it's very good to see him, you know, do more in the defensive department, because I think that has been lacking, and at least the last couple of games, he did not look as flustered when things went wrong. So that's a positive improvement in terms of body language, and I think that's very important for Gio Reyna. You know, he had a bit of this Pulisic syndrome, where you fall on the ground, you raise your arms, and you pout. I can't have that. You know, you need to stay switched on and track back, and especially now in the final stretch of the season, it's very important that you stay disciplined. And if you can do that as a Gio Reyna, it's very important. Hazard, obviously, he's a very hard worker. You know that he maybe doesn't have the best output, as we all hope as Dortmund viewers, but you know, he still puts in a shift. But right now his form isn't 100%. I still think he needs to gain more rhythm. So if he does that off the bench, that's great. I don't know if he'll actually come on for Sancho, because you need to sort of limit his minutes as much as possible as well, because you want to keep him fresh and not just, you know, have him injured again for the final 3 or 4 games. Yeah,
I agree. I think it'll depend on how the game's going. If we're, like you said, maybe potentially having a couple goal lead, maybe Sancho comes off around the 65th, something like that. But if it's a nail biter, I say it'd be Gio who's plucked first. But yeah, I mean, Gio's hotter. We know how Terzic is, and like for me, there's no question he'll start. But you gotta give him huge credit, because he's someone who, in my opinion, likes playing as the center attacking mid. That's where he's comfortable. And now he's been plucked out to the wings, and I've been pretty critical on the channel about who's been playing in that right hand side throughout the season, whether it's Gio or Brandt. I say they're relatively useless most of the time that they're out there. That's why I like seeing us play in the 4-3-2-1, because if that player's not going to be effective, what's the point when you have the other 3 going? So, but he's been making me shut up a little bit of late. He has, because he's been playing well on the wings, and like you said, he's bringing a little bit more to his game for his young development, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I'll say this: it helps when you have Piszczek back there, because he's a big help for whoever is playing on the right side, because he's technically so far above be it Murray or Meunier, and he's doing his job so well that I think it takes a big chunk of work off the shoulders, and I think his positioning has been really good, so that he doesn't even need to utilize his pace, which I think is okay for a player his age. You know, he's not the 2013 version of Lucas Piszczek anymore. We all know that, but you know, the way he finds the ball and puts them into the half spaces, it's very effective right now, and especially with Sancho coming back on the other side and him and Guerreiro gelling very well, it's opened more space for the right side. So it's crazy to think that the return of Sancho has opened up so many other opportunities on the field to make players better, even if they're not directly on Sancho's side, even though they do switch sides quite often. That's obviously a marquee of the Dortmund's attack, but yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Yep, I agree. When we've talked about it a lot also here on the channel when it comes to Sancho's positioning. I found at the beginning of the season he played so much on that right-hand side. We saw so much dangers on that right-hand side last year when we had Hakimi and Sancho playing off each other. Beautiful football. But when they was kind of Meunier this year with Sancho, they never gelled. They never did. And I was shouting constantly, like, move him to the other side. You have someone as technically gifted as Guerreiro who loves going up the pitch, finding that chemistry with Sancho. They make each other better, but it took a while, but they eventually moved Sancho over to the left-hand side, and yeah, I can't wait to see what magic hopefully they can come up with against Kiel, and I think those two will be one of our most important players in this game to hopefully create some magic up front.
Yeah, and I really do wonder how hits will fare if there's going to be a penalty shootout, because if there's one thing that has happened this season, it's that Dortmund keepers do not save penalties, and it's kind of frustrating. But I hope it doesn't come to that, to be honest. But what's going to be important is just that Dortmund do not make any weird mistakes and do not allow and give away too many set pieces. I think these are very essential keys to the game.
Yep, and that's why I didn't have Chan in the starting 11. I think like we said energy, we said getting on to a front, like a strong, competitive start. Chan is very good at that, but his composure sometimes lacks, and the wrong decision making can lead to those type of set pieces and put our defense in trouble. So yeah, that's why I don't want him to start in this kind of game. And if he was to start, I'd throw him out on the right hand side at right back. That's where the most comfortable I'd be with him. But with Piszczek rediscovering form, he doesn't get in this squad for me.
Yeah, I agree. So for Dortmund, it's really important that they shut down Finn Bartels, and I would add to that Lee Ye-sung, who was a Korean player. I think he's 28 years old or something like that. He's pretty good as a playmaker that sometimes likes to play up top, but then drops back and plays a lot of through balls. And I think the same obviously can be said for Serra, who is doing a fine job as well in that regard. And there's one player I really hope Dortmund do not allow to score. That's Fabian Rehse, because he's a player. I think he was born in Kiel actually, so he's a hometown player, but he's a Schalke youth product.
Oh yeah.
So he's not too bad either. So
Yeah.
that would obviously suck if he scores. Yeah. Otherwise, I think you gotta watch Alexander Mühling if he plays, because I think he has scored the most goals for them in Zweite Bundesliga. On 10 goals, but I don't know whether he will even start, because he has been in and out the starting lineup in the recent games. So yeah, I wish I would know more about Kiel as well, because it's obviously an intriguing team. They have a good mix out of youngsters and veterans, which is sort of always the key for promotion at Zweite Bundesliga. That you have some players who are bang average, but don't screw up anymore, and some players that are some hot talents that can you bring forward. That's usually the mix that make team play well in the Zweite Bundesliga. And obviously a big factor is also luck, because I don't know if it is my perception or not, but I feel like the Zweite Bundesliga is even a bit more random in how goals happen than in the Bundesliga, because more mistakes and poor controls happen. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure.
I do too. And usually here we do like a little key matchup, but you have touched a lot of their players, so I'm gonna make it a little bit different. I want you to take a look at our starting 11, or our predicted starting 11. I want you to pick two players who you think are going to be the difference maker in this kind of game. I know you touched on a few of them, but we like to do like these little key matchups. So I want to know which ones, from maybe one from the front, one from the back.
In the back. Well, in the back, it's going to be Akanji. That's very simple because the main weapon that Kiel have is balls over the top, I think, or through balls, trying to get in behind Dortmund's backline. And usually the antidote for that is Akanji because he has the most pace. And up front, it's going to be Haaland. Easily. You could pick Sancho, but I think this is going to be a Haaland game where he scores at least 2, if not 3. I don't know why, but I'm getting confident, and I'm feeling like Dortmund will clear Kiel quite easily, and I think this is the epic jinx that everyone will come back to haunt me. But I think those are very. I mean, the thing is, pick two players is kind of weird because there are so many difference makers in the Dortmund side that it's really hard to predict which one of those will come up with something. It can always be Guerrero or Sancho as well, but if you ask me, sure, let's pick Akanji and Haaland.
I had to give you a
also pick Piszczek and Sancho, so
there you go.
It's
well, the honorable mentions. I had to give you some type of test coming here on the channel, so you know what? I liked it. Yeah, you had two good picks, and I totally agree.
What are your picks then?
I would have went Piszczek, just for the main reason that I think he brings some leadership to the back. I think that he is going to be crucial for Gio getting involved in the game. His footballing IQ is fantastic, and like you said, he doesn't have the speed that he once did. But when you have that kind of IQ, you don't always need that type of speed. And I think that I just love what he's done since he's came back in the starting 11, and it just makes the back four look completely different. So I think there's a special shout for him, and then I was going to go Sancho. So yeah, your two honorable mentions were who I was going to go, but it's just because I've had so much fun watching Sancho since he came back. It was like he was on
the important thing that Piszczek, the role he can play is when things do not go as well as I predict, and there will be setbacks. I think he is a good player to have on the field, to get the chins back up, so to speak. So I think that's very important too when you talk about leadership, especially when the going gets a little tougher. I think that's very important. Also, I think he has a very good feeling and understanding right now for when Dortmund need to attack and when they just need to keep the ball and retain possession. I think they've done that quite well against Wolfsburg, especially in the second half, because when Dortmund are in the lead, they are sometimes prone to just trying to force a counterattack out of every turnover they get. And sometimes just keeping the ball away from opposition is very important. Obviously, this very vertical pass, the dime by Dahoud, was exactly the sort of play that Dortmund are aiming for, but that doesn't always happen. So in that regard, if he, especially without Dahoud, can organize it a little bit better, and that's important because I feel like I personally often dismiss how important Dahoud is in terms of on-field organization, because now you actually hear how much he is talking and communicating. And Dortmund, for the most part of the season, especially when Dahoud wasn't featuring as prominent, were a very quiet team. There was not a lot of communication going on there, and that's obviously a big negative. So it's good to have someone there, but Dahoud is obviously missing, which is a shame because he's been in excellent form. But I think Bellingham might even score a goal. Didn't he score in the first cup game against who was it, Duisburg?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that was his first goal, right, for us?
Yeah. And then the second goal took a bit of time, didn't it? Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, it did. No, I totally agree. Piszczek's got calming presence, and I think that's gonna be very important, like you said, with the back end. I guess looking at the midfield without Dahoud, I'm expecting maybe Delaney to be a little more vocal, trying to hold that down, make sure Jude knows exactly what he's doing. So I absolutely agree that missing Dahoud. We've been big fans of Dahoud here on the channel.
Yeah,
big fans.
If Delaney doesn't, if he isn't more vocal, he will speak through yellow cards and faults. that's usually his expression. But yeah,
that's fair.
I don't know. I'm fairly confident because remember after the Revier Derby when the fans gave Dortmund a big reception and you saw the players in the bus being very elated, and I think it was Haaland who said we got to win some silverware. I feel like once you're in the semi-final, things get even a bit more real than they were against Gladbach, which at the time was a very intriguing match just because of the whole Rose situation, but also because Gladbach are a good team, and beating them in the cup in their own stadium is not an easy feat. And Dortmund did it; they grinded 1-0 out. So yeah, I think once you make it to the semifinal and you do not play Bayern, chances are you go all the way.
Yep, and that was actually one of the last questions I was going to ask you here is how important is this Pokal to you to get silverware this season?
I was thinking I was thinking about that quite a lot today, because on the one hand I was like, what does the Pokal mean to me if there's not going to be a Champions League qualification for the long term, and B, if it cannot be celebrated as it usually would. You know, this is obviously something amazing when there's a title celebration in the city of Dortmund. I don't know if you've been to one. I don't know.
Have not.
That's an amazing feeling, because it's the whole town and people from out of town obviously all celebrating, and the jubilation is it's huge. So that would be great in non-pandemic times, but we don't have that right now. So that's what I thought initially, and I was like, you know, the Larry David meme, like, should I really root for the cup or not? But then it hit me. There was, it's actually Piszczek last season. How are we going to see him off? Obviously with the cup win, you can't just lose to freaking Leipzig in the final. That can't happen either. So
no.
Yeah. Also, we shouldn't give any more validation to the Red Bull team by handing them silverware. So hopefully that can be prevented, and even better if Haaland is the dagger in their hearts, because he's obviously the one that got away out of Red Bull perspective. So
yeah, that'd be a nice story. I like that. I like what you're going there. Yeah, no, I agree.
And I didn't have a little picture here.
Yeah, I like it. It's beautiful. But yeah, I didn't quite have that perspective of the celebrations in the city, because I've never lived it. I've seen videos. They look absolutely incredible. But the reason for me it's important is because we do have a lot of winners on this team, and if we don't start delivering some of the silverware, you hear it all the time. I mean, like you said, Holland says he wants to win. Royce wants another. I mean, the poor man has not had near as many trophies as he probably should. So, and then you said Piszczek, which would be a sensational story as well. So there's a couple of things behind the scenes for me winning it, but hopefully we can get that job done.
Also, we got to make it happen for Marcel Schmelzer as well,
yes,
because he's also leaving and gets a bit forgotten. But to me, he is on a similar level as Piszczek in terms of legend status. So yeah, it's going to be tough for me personally, because these are two players I really, really like, and see them leave is going to be tough. But yeah, I don't know. I thought about it a lot from sort of the fan experience perspective, because you kind of, want the Dortmund fans to overrun the city in Berlin, and the celebration at the Gesundbrunnen, and stuff like that. That's usually what the cup final is all about, and what's so special about it is kind of taken away in so many ways. So I don't know. I've said so many times, this is the shittiest time to win any silverware. I mean,
it's true.
Which is why I'm not that sad that Bayern take their 9th. Like, whatever. If Dortmund would win the Bundesliga, we'd all be elated, obviously, but it just would not be the same. And the same is true for the cup. But all that being said, if you have the choice between winning it and not winning it, you always go for winning it. So it's not really up to me anyway. I'm just a pundit on the Yellowwallpod. That's what I am.
Hey, it was beautifully said. But we've taken a lot of your time today, Stefan, and I really appreciate you coming on. So there's one final question I got to ask you, and they're gonna make me do it, so I got it. And I need a prediction for the game. So you can give me one, and then you're free to head off.
All right, 5-0.
5-0. All right, my guy. I like it. I'm not as confident. I'll go 3-1. We'll have to have a debate. I guess, afterwards.
It's going to be a really close game. I already know that Dortmund will take their sweet time with finding the net, but I don't know. I'm just hoping and wishing that they take it as seriously and play with the sort of momentum that they usually play within the Champions League, that they just steamroll Kiel. And what I've seen of Kiel thus far has not impressed me to the level that I think that they can get past a side like Dortmund when Dortmund plays serious football. I think when they got past Bayern, then it was because Bayern didn't really, go 100% or whatever you want to call it. It was, they were very content once Sonny scored that free kick, and they just sort of wanted to see out the game. And then once you shift into like second gear from fifth gear, it's really hard to shift back up again. I think that's sort of what happened to Bayern. Was also a snowy day and shitty turf.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, it's like I like to say, it's this expression here in Canada. I mean, you don't know what it's like, what a team has until their backs are pressed up against the wall. And Dortmund was put in a position where their Champions League hopes were slipping away, and they pretty much got to win out. They got to win the rest of the games in the season. They got to win the rest of the games in the Pokal. And this is the time to see big players step up. So I'm expecting big games from Sanchos. I'm expecting big games from Holland, and I'm hoping that we can go to a final.
Yeah, but I feel like the vibe of the season is that Dortmund's not going to win out the season. It's hard to foresee, but hey, we can hope as long they're in there. And I mean, as a writer, I really respect that they're keeping it very close to deadline.
Yeah, there we go, right on the edge. Keeps them excited. But Stefan, thank you, man, so much for coming on, guys. We're gonna, if you guys want to check him out and check out the Yellowwallpod, which I'm assuming most of you guys probably should or probably have done, we will link his put it in the description. Have the links there, everything that he wants. We'll see. We'll put it into his Twitters. He's very fun to follow on Twitter as well. We'll give him a huge shout out. So Stefan, thank you again so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can subscribe to the Yellowwallpod if you want. I'll be off and now record the preview for the Kiel match, so I'll regurgitate all the text that I just had. But as the host, it's nice, as you just saw. You don't really have to give that many texts because you're just asking questions, so which is comfortable. I'll have Lars Pollmann and Matthias Zug pick on them. So very very happy to come on and say yes. Please give the Yellowwallpod a subscription if you haven't. We are also on YouTube, so just type in Yellowwallpod while you're here, and that's it.
Perfect. And we'll have all the links down below. We're gonna leave it for there, guys. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next time.